Yeah, so the last stuff I really want to show you guys is just a little bit of how to. For me, I basically do my nav planning on Google My Maps. I then send the map, I'll export the map to a KML file, which I'll simply WhatsApp to myself. And once I open that file, it's actually quite easy to just open it up in in your app. Okay, so I am just quickly going to open WhatsApp, and I'll show you guys a route. Okay, so I've got a friend that sent me a route the other day. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I'm just going to do a share again. Okay, so there we go. Mine, William sent me this weekend KNZ file, which he basically designed it on Google Maps, and he sent it to me, and all I basically do is open the file. There we go, and you'll see, because it's a KNZ file, it associates with Locus Maps. I don't even have to go and import it. It'll just open it up in Locus. What is great is it'll go to import. It'll ask you which folder must it import all the points, and which folder must it import all the tracks. Now remember when I said I created tracks and a points folder for each of my trips? This is where you'll do it. So I'll basically select, there we go, let me just do it. Oh, he's made it, oh, there we go. You'll see that display only was on. So if I click on these, all my folders. Okay, so just to get back to it, I can create a new folder and import into that folder, and then I'll also go and I'll create that same folder for tracks. And once I'm done, I'm just going to do this as temp. So I don't want to import his stuff permanently. Where's temp? There's temp. Go to import. I'll just say ignore it. Okay, and there it is. So there's that orange one is William's map that he sent me. And again, because it's orange, I can't really see it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide my, I think the purple one is actually his. The blue one, yeah, the orange and the purple is his, because I don't use those colors, but mine is in the back here. So I'm quickly going to select that and just hide it. Too fast now, yeah. It's quite strange to do this on using a mouse. I'm so used to using a finger. Okay, and there's his map, and I can, again, just for demonstration, select his section, go to track details. I don't like the purple. It doesn't show up bright enough, so I'll take the purple, let's say make it red, 5 points, save, and off we go. That just makes it a little bit more visible for me to do. Okay, so that's basically the portion the portion that I wanted to display or show you guys on just doing some route manipulation and making it visible. The next thing that guys ask me is, if you are actually now riding, what do you do? So to do that, just quickly I also had with my previous webinars, especially the first one, a lot of guys ask me then, how do you actually mount the phone? And how do you put it in front of you so that you can actually have quick access to it? So for that, I've got a little, I think, 30-second video. This is my Triumph Tiger that I use, and I navigate on that as well. I use a handlebar grip with my RAM mount for the phone, and I basically just put it on, tighten it. There we go. And now I can basically set it any way I want. And I still have quite a clear view of the instrument panel. I'll quickly take you to the KTM and show you I use the same RAM mount on the KTM. Okay, so for the KTM I've got a different setup. I use a mounted ball mount, so the clamp won't work, and this is how I do it. I basically put my RAM mount on. There we go. And that's what it looks like. Okay, that was just a short little demo of the mounts that I use. I currently use 2 RAM mounts. The first one is the claw mount, that one that you open up. I also have a flat mount on the KTM now, just to have separate mounts on the bikes. And the second one, I can do the rally stuff as well. So the last stuff on my webinar, I just want to demonstrate for you guys are the 2 controls that I use while riding. So I'm just going to go back to my again. There we go. Okay, so while I'm riding, I will basically fix the phone in front of me, and the easiest way to just show you there is like that. Okay, it's very rough. It's just by image, but you'll see this is on my RAM mount on my Tiger, and sitting in front of it, I will basically just have it displayed in front of me. The great thing about the RAM mounts is that you can change the angle. So if you stand and ride, this is quite bright. This was actually in bright sunlight using my UmiDigi phone. That makes I can navigate like this for 8 hours on it. Going back to the controls, I quickly want to show you is on the bottom of the screen, I use these bottom controls or the main controls while you ride. So the first thing is to obviously load your map. So I'm quickly going to just display, I'm going to hide that map. I'm going to go back to my maps, and I want to display my Loscorp map, because let's say we're going to ride Loscorp today. And I think we're going to do this one, so I'm going to display it. So this is just all it takes, is I just say display that map for me, and there it is. Okay, the starting point of this route starts here, other side, Pretoria. But I'm not there. You'll see if I go to my center point, I'm here in the middle, and I'm quite far out. So I tend to just use Google navigation. You can use Locus, but I just use Google navigation to drive to the beginning of my route. And what I do is I display the route, and I literally put it in front of me, and I drive that line. And I do that with these 2 buttons at the bottom. So the first button is to center the map on your own area. That's where I am. And the second button is to turn the map that it always faces north. So if you basically ride to the start, I'm just going to turn this off a little bit. If you ride to the start, let's say that red line was my start. That will basically be the line that I follow. And I tend to zoom in quite deep, like 100 meters, to see the details, which means that you can actually navigate single track using this. What I don't do is I don't use the navigation feature where you select the line, and you can do that, but I don't do that. I don't navigate. I ride the line. In other words, I'm still flexible to ride anywhere I want, and I don't have Locus constantly telling me you have to turn left in 50 meters and stuff. That I see as commuting navigation. So I do that where I commute to Joburg or to a client, and I've got Google Maps saying how to navigate. So I don't do that if I do off-roading. And if I navigate, I literally put the line in front of me, and once I get there, I just follow the line, and I zoom in and out to basically follow the actual trail. You can obviously zoom into extreme detail. There you can see I was actually literally in the garage and turned out of the garage and took Solomon Mashlangu Road there. So riding is I actually refer to it as riding the line. I don't use the navigation feature of it. Okay, so we've got a question here that says, how does it know when you are riding the line? It doesn't know that you're riding a line because I'm not navigating it. In other words, let me just quickly explain. Navigation on software tends to mean that, I'm just going to turn this off, means that I select the line and I select navigate this route. In other words, I've got a voice or an arrow that will show me where to turn. The problem that I have with that is that's literally just following the direction from the GPS. The type of riding that I do, let's say we ride the LDBA with Mark Taylor and crowd. That's very difficult to do because his route doesn't show meter per meter per meter where the donga is or where the tree is. it basically shows you a direction to go. So you can't, if you really do more technical riding, you can't actually use navigation, but I have a line in front of me. In other words, if I see the line, I can literally ride around this whole block and still get to my red line, as long as I can still see the line. And if I'm far off route, you just zoom out and you can see, okay, I'm currently here, let's say at the bottom, I'm in Rietvallei Park. I need to go north until I hit the line. As soon as I'm on my track, I zoom in again and I follow the line, which means I don't use the GPS or the device to tell me where to turn and what to do. I actually do it myself. And that's far better to do if you do off-roading. And then the last thing I want to show you guys is what they call rings, which is a really cool feature. Other apps also do it, and you'll see I've currently zoomed, or I've currently centered on where I am currently sitting in my house. But do you guys see the blue rings, the stippelankie, this dotted line, and the red rings? Those are really cool because that shows you if you're traveling at your current speed and direction, that's how far you're going to go before you hit whatever, like a turn. So you'll see that this turn here with a mouse is basically 200 meters in front of me. Now, if I'm riding, this is nice and bright red. If I'm riding and I see that the map comes up, I can see, okay, in 1 minute, approximately 1 minute, I have to do something or I have to turn. This is a fantastic feature that I ride with constantly, is to, especially if you do single track, you can basically say, okay, in the next 50 meters, I'm going to turn left. And it's a really cool, and now what's interesting is these circles, the red and the blue circles, the time and the distance circles, they scale. So if you drive faster, then they'll change the time that it takes you to get there. To get this, the circle rings, there's my time circles. So there's the time circle and the distance circle. It's under settings, maps, and auxiliary, and there you've got your time circle and your distance circle. That will basically turn those on and off for you. So yeah, that basically brings me to the end of the webinar. This was just the introduction to Locus, how to set it up, how to do some manipulation. And the reason for this webinar is, unfortunately, with the previous webinars, I focused on using mobile in relation to GPSs and why mobile for me is better. And then the next series I did was using Google My Maps. And this is basically the third and probably the last installment of the navigation series, looking at using and setting up Locus Maps. I hope it helped you guys. Okay, guys, that brings me to the end. I'm just going to show you my details. Thanks a lot. Thanks everyone for participating. This is just my contact details. This is my cell phone number and my email address. The webinar series is sponsored by our company that develops the Rally Rampage towers. That's why my email is info@rallyrampage. That's my personal email. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. And hopefully I'll see you guys on the trail at some stage.